Welcome to our next live class. We will talk about the two-way prepositions. In German we call them Wechselpräpositionen. You might also know them under the term two-case prepositions. Let's wait a couple of seconds until a few people show up and listen to some nice music, which I will explain later.
In der Küche. Wo ist Dati? Wohin?
Okay, hallo zusammen, guten Abend. Let me turn off the music for now. So the music you hear in the background is a very lovely song that will help you with the topic today, which is two-way prepositions. Yeah, I called them this way, two-case prepositions, or in German, Wechselpräpositionen. It's a slightly advanced topic, so if you've never heard of the German cases like nominative or at least accusative and dative, then you might have trouble getting this today, but let's give it a try. Maybe I can make it even understandable for a total beginner. Would be nice. I always like such a challenge. I will share my screen with you now. I have prepared a little presentation and I will just talk you through it. And that should last not longer than 20, maybe 30 minutes. And afterwards you can ask a couple of questions. I'm happy to stay a bit longer, yeah, to see what I can do for you. Okay, let me quickly share my screen. Here we are. Application window. That's not what I want to share actually. Let me see what I can do. Okay, sorry, give me a second. I by accident closed the window. Here we go. So. Excuse me. Pardon, Entschuldigung. Mein Browser ist abgestürzt. My browser crashed. Okay, let me try this again. 1 second. I see technical issues. So, with me today is Alexandra, who takes care of your questions and will let me know what you desire, and then we can start. Okay, so I'm sorry for that. Application window, this one, share new window, that's fine. And here you are. Okay, my apologies for the little delay. Good, so let me start. This is the topic of today. Now, I will not go too deep into learning the two-way prepositions, the Wechselpräpositionen. For that, we have a lovely video which you can access here or also find in the description of the live chat, the live class. Afterwards, we will publish this. And you will also, if you have subscribed to my newsletter, you will get the PDF of this presentation and can then in all calm write down the link and look it up. Margaret has done a fabulous job playing this beautiful song. It's very easy to learn them. I learned them with this song because for me they are Chinese as well. Yeah, we say that. It's vor, hinter, über, unter, nebenan, zwischen, auf und in. I'm not even reading these. I just learned them with a song. It took me a day or maybe even two singing it under the shower. Yeah, not sure whether my neighbors also know them by now. So make an effort to learn them by heart. Maybe you've done that already. They are called Wechselpräpositionen. Wechsel means to change because they at times initiate the accusative and at times the dative. And the accusative is usually associated with the question wohin. In English, that should be where to, But unfortunately, in English, they do not ask where to do you go. They simply ask where do you go, or where to did you put your mobile. They simply ask where did you put your mobile. So this question wohin, or for the dative wo, where, doesn't really help if English is one of your main languages. Yeah, that's the problem. And the main trick is to figure out, or to get a feeling for, what is a direction and what is a position. The one here just means that this is the first slide. There will be another slide. Now, let me ask you, and you can answer in the live chat by just writing a D or a P. D for direction, P for position. I lie in my bed. So would you associate this sentence with a direction or with a position? I lie in my bed. If you visualize that, do you see something moving to a direction, or do you rather see something that doesn't move, that is positioned already? I just give you a couple of seconds. And it's, of course, a position. A direction is always associated with a movement. If you don't move, there can't be any direction. And I'm not meaning like you're doing stretching or something in your bed. That's not a movement. Yeah, not in this direction. It's not a directional movement. Next example, let's see. My glasses onto the table, or on the table. Would you associate that with a direction or a position? 3, 2, 1. It's a direction. When you put something, let's say I take my glasses, I put them on the table. So there is a movement with a direction from my nose to the table, and therefore it's a direction. Next example. I live on Elm Street. 3, 2, 1. It's a position. Yeah, Elm Street is a position. On a map, you could put an X there. Your house would not move, I hope, unless you have a mobile home, but that's not the usual case. Next example, just 6 of these. I hang the picture on the wall. Try to visualize that situation. It's a direction. If I take the picture and move it towards the wall, it's me hanging it there. Yeah, I'm doing an action, it's a direction. Next example, almost there. My brother lives above an old woman. Is there any movement involved, any directional movement, or is it a position? 3, 2, 1, position. Last example. I stick my finger in my nose. Yeah, so is it moving one's finger up one's nose, a direction towards your nose, or is it already stuck in there? That would be a position. 3, 2, 1, it's a direction. I have a couple of more examples, just very quickly. Think fast, I will browse through these. I put a sausage on my plate. As a good German, I eat sausage for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And to do so, I have to put it on my plate. It's a direction. I sit down on a chair. Sitting down, I imagine a movement, so it's also a direction. My mobile is in my pocket. Is there anything moving, or is it already stuck there? It's a position. I place my towel on a beach chair, very German. If you go to Mallorca, you would see a lot of towels and empty beach chairs at 7 in the morning. So if you place it there, are you moving it there, or is it just lying there? 3, 2, 1, direction. 2 more examples quickly. I stand at the corner. 3, 2, 1, position. And those of you who are smart and think, there's 3 blue ones and there will be 3 red ones, let's test the prediction. My mother works in a factory. It's a position. Okay. If you have less than half correct of these situations, then take your time, imagine this situation a bit clearer, and remember, a direction means there is something moving towards something. A position is simply nothing moves. Now, the direction reminds me of the word action. It sounds even the same. And action reminds me of accusative. So anything that you associate with a direction requires the accusative, but be careful, after those two-way prepositions, after those Wechselpräpositionen. Anything with a position is rather static, which you could rhyme with datic and dative in the end. So position is dative. Now, there is a little help for you, and that comes in form of a group of verbs. I call them twin verbs because they are very similar to each other. There is certain verbs that only allow the accusative. So if you understand them properly, you will know alone by just understanding legen, which is to put, and that it is the accusative. I'll give you examples in a few minutes. Stellen is another one, also means to put. And setzen means to put. Now, I know there is English words for these, but no one uses these nowadays. I have a better way to explain what they mean. Now, legen is the action, the putting, that leads to the position lying, liegen. So if I leg something and drop it, then it lies there in its position. Stellen is the put that leads to stehen, which is to stand. So if I were to stand my mobile phone somewhere, however it is able to stand, I would stell it first, drop it, and when I dropped it, it would stand. And setzen is the put or the action that leads to sitzen. Now, I have highlighted the differences between these. They're very marginal. Yeah? Legen, liegen, stellen, stehen, setzen, and sitzen. So it requires a little bit of practice from you. Okay? There's also a couple of other verbs that, yeah? Ah. Okay. Sorry, I was a bit confused. There's no presentation, but there should be a presentation. Alexander, excuse me? Just to make sure that you get everything, because it should show. Alexander, can you give me a quick update? Can you see the presentation? Okay, good. Dankeschön. Excuse me, technical issues. Okay, here we go. We go back to my little presentation. So, direction accusative, legen. There's a few other verbs that usually indicate it's an accusative. For example, coming. If you're coming, there's a direction involved. Yeah, and hängen also can mean that you put something there. We just had an example where I hung a picture to a wall. And with dative, you also associate, or we also associate sein, which means to be, wohnen, which means to live, and leben, which means to hang. Yeah? The problem here is why, sorry for the technical stuff, if I have the presentation in full screen, I cannot see the messages. That's weird. That's really weird. Let me try to reshare the screen. I apologize. Give me a second. Einblendung stoppen. No, but it should show. Für alle einblenden. So let me know if it does. Yeah, I need some clear. Okay, so the full screen seems to be an issue. Could I get some feedback on how much you saw actually? Because if I just do this verbally, that doesn't really do the job. Okay, interesting. I'm sorry, we are having technical issues here. That's actually pretty peinlich. Very sad to hear this. Can you see me at least? Okay. See, that's life. It's never straight. Let me start again, and hopefully you have been primed. I share my presentation with you in a different way. I would love to show it, but it doesn't work. How do I do this? How do I do this so that you can see it and that I can share it with you? Give me 1 second. Oh, sad, sad, sad. I'm sorry. Such a nice presentation. So maybe if I share my entire screen with you, despite, how is that? Yeah. Can you see it now? Now it's full screen. Can you see it? Oh God. Can you see this? Okay, let's try again. So obviously we'll take a bit longer. Good. Welcome again, and welcome to the 21st century struggling with live transfer. My apologies for wasting your time. Wechselpräpositionen. These are the Wechselpräpositionen for which we have created a lovely song that Margaret performs and also shows you a little dance with it with her hands, which will transmit the meaning of those. Vor, hinter, über, unter, nebenan, zwischen, auf und in. I would share this with you, as I said, just a little review. I try to keep it short. They are called Wechselpräpositionen, changing prepositions, because they can come with accusative and dative. Accusative and dative are usually associated with two questions that you might have heard from your teacher, which is wohin, where to, very literally, and wo for the dative, which means where. Unfortunately, in English, you do not use where to. You say, where do you go? Or where did you put your mobile? And therefore, these questions in German are rather difficult to use. Yeah, and I would rather that you get a feeling for what is a direction or what is a position. Okay. The sentence "I lie in my bed." Maybe you remember from my verbal presentation a couple of minutes ago, whether that was a direction or position. I speed this up a little bit. If you imagine someone lying in bed, do you think that's rather a directional movement, a direction, or is it something static, a static position? Yeah? Of course, it's a position. No one is moving once you're in bed. You shouldn't move. You should lie there and sleep. Next example, I put my glasses onto the table. If you put something somewhere, it's obviously a movement, and every movement has a direction, except when you dance wildly in the disco. But that's not the movement we're talking about. So it's a direction. If you say, I live on Elm Street, or in German, we would say, I live on the Elm Street. That's a position. Hang the picture on the wall. You hang it there. That means you move your arms towards the wall, and therefore it's a direction. My brother lives above an old woman. He's living there. His flat doesn't move, so it's a position. Last example for the first slide. I stick my finger in my nose. Are you moving it towards your nose, or is it stuck there already? That's the direction. Couple of more quickly. The sausage again. I put a sausage on my plate. You put it there. It's a direction. And you sit down on a chair. Your behind is moving downwards onto the surface of a chair. It's a direction as well. My mobile is in my pocket. Is it stuck there, or are you sticking it there? It's a position. And I place my towel on a beach chair. It's not yet there. You're putting it there, hence it's a direction. See, hopefully this is easy for you, because that will simplify the whole matter to you, for you. I stand at the corner. You're standing there. You're not moving, you're waiting for someone. If you move, he will not find you. It's a position. My mother works in a factory. Yeah, the factory doesn't move. Your mother is inside. It's a position. So this is important because direction sounds like action, which reminds me of accusative. So anything that you associate intuitively with a direction uses the accusative. I'll give you some examples soon. And then we have a position that is associated with dative. There's a group of verbs, I call them twin verbs because they're very alike, which help you to identify which one to use should you hear the difference. There's legen, which means to put. There's stellen, which also means to put. And setzen, which means to put. I know there is English words for these, but no one uses these. So I decided against giving you the translations. I rather give you a more intuitive explanation. Legen, for example, is the action that results in the position liegen, which means to lie. My mobile lies on the table or is lying on the table. Stellen is the action which leads to the position of stehen, to stand. Yeah, I stand at the corner. Setzen is the action that leads to the position sitzen, to sit. Yeah. There's also a couple of verbs that are generally associated with accusative if you use the Wechselpräposition, not otherwise, please. Kommen, for example. Kommen, to come, requires that there's a point A from which you come to a point B. Hängen, the same. We did this with the image we put on the wall. And with dative, with a fixed position, we associate sein, to be. I am at home, I'm not moving from there. And wohnen means to habit, to live. Leben means to live. It's a bit stronger than wohnen. And hängen means to hang. Once you have hung something onto the wall, it's hanging there. So that is also associated with dative. Now, Übung macht den Meister, practice makes perfect. Yeah, we are now there where the presentation actually started. Now, let me test you, or you test yourself. Ich liege in mein oder in meinem Bett. I lie in my bed. Mine, the blue one, is accusative. Meinem would be dative. If you say I lie in my bed, is that a direction or is it a position? If it's a direction, you need the blue answer. If it's a position, you need the red one. Make a quick guess. I push the button and you will see the answer. Meinem is correct. If you lie in your bed, we had that example, there is no movement. Next example. Ich stelle meinen Koffer in den oder dem Schrank. So I place I put my suitcase into the wardrobe. Is that a movement or is that a position? Is it accusative or dative? 3, 2, 1. As you're putting it there, you move it there, so its Schrank needs to be accusative. Ich lege eine Wurst auf den oder dem Teller. You're legging it there. Sorry, I put a sausage onto my plate. My apologies. So if you put it there, it is an action. Hence, you need the accusative. Das Bild hängt an eine or einer Wand. The picture hangs on a wall. If it's hanging there, it's already there. No one puts it there, so it's a position. You need the dative. Mein Bruder steht an die or der Ecke. My brother stands at the or the corner. English is so much easier, right? Only in this case, though. So he's standing there. My brother stands at the corner. That means it's a position. Last test. Ich lege die Brille neben das oder dem Glas. I put the glasses next to the glass. If you put it there, it's a direction, hence the accusative. I hope you understand how simple this actually is, but this is understanding. Understanding is always simpler than practicing, and therefore I would like to introduce you to a way to master this almost on your own with a little bit of practice. You can do this in a couple of days and you will never have any issues with the two-way prepositions again. I call this technique preaching because you will repeat something over and over again until you believe it. And of course, when you believe it, others might also believe you. You should only do this after you've mastered the accusative, after you know what the accusative actually is. But we'll see, maybe you can even use it without that knowledge. Now, if you want to get a detailed introduction to the preaching, I recommend my course, How to Learn German Faster, in which I describe the technique in detail and also have 2 videos in which I demonstrate that. But maybe you can also figure it out by watching this now. Preaching means you have a couple of keywords. I call them triggers because they will trigger a memory of a whole grammatically correct sentence. And one of these triggers is, for example, bet, which is bad. Now, when you come up with these keywords, in this topic, it makes sense to have keywords that describe a position, a potential position. Like a bed is a potential position. You could put things on your bed or in your bed. You could have a wall, you could have a wardrobe, a fridge, a windowsill, a bench, so places. You need to look up the gender and you need to learn that gender. Look up my superhero technique, also part of my grammar course, but there's also a video on YouTube or on my homepage as a free preview. The superhero technique is the most beautiful technique to learn the German genders. You don't need anything else, and you will have intuitive knowledge of the genders. So bed is neuter. Now, how do you preach this? When you see the word bed, the first thing you do is you put something on your bed. And you will remember when you put something there, yeah, for example, your sweater, ich lege meinen Pullover, I put my sweater, and you have legen, which is the action that results in liegen, to lie. So when you put it there, you need the accusative. Ich lege meinen Pullover auf das Bett. The next thing you do, once you've put it there, you drop it. You just don't touch it anymore, and it's lying there without moving. And you say, mein Pullover liegt jetzt, my pullover is now lying auf dem Bett, the dative. Notice one thing, I've highlighted a couple of words orange. The orange means that is the subject, the who of the sentence. Who is putting the pullover where? And the second one is who is lying on the bed, or what is lying on the bed. That's the subject. So the accusative sentence, there's always a person putting something somewhere, while in the dative sentence, there's one thing lying somewhere. So it's one element less. Yeah, the ich has gone home. After I drop my pullover on the bed, I'm not necessary anymore. So one example for you, one last example, then we are through with the presentation and we come to the questions. Boden, which means floor and is masculine. How would you say, I put my pullover onto the floor? I give you a second to do it yourself. Ich lege meinen Pullover. And on the floor is always auf. Auf den Boden. Which is accusative, because you put it there. It's a directional movement. Last, and now after you dropped it, it's lying there without moving. Mein Pullover liegt jetzt auf dem Boden. This is a quick introduction to this, and hopefully it made you understand the beauty of this. You don't have to ask wohin. You have a feeling, natural feeling for what is a direction, what is a position. Let me get back to you and have this beautiful endless. Yeah, here I'm. Happy to see there's still so many of you there. I really apologize for the first 5 minutes. I was mainly blind. If you do this every day, you write down 5 positions and you just walk around with your mobile and say, okay, I put my mobile on my hand, and then you drop it carefully. My mobile is now on my hand. In German, ich lege mein Handy auf meine Hand. And when you drop it, mein Handy liegt jetzt auf meiner Hand. And you can do that all day. You can also do that just in your mind. You can also put elephants on your hand. This is an elephant. Yeah, I put an elephant on my hand. Now an elephant is on my hand. Use your fantasy. You don't have to go to the zoo and steal an elephant. This is what I wanted to share with you. You might have to watch this again a bit slower. You just forward to the point where you can see the presentation, please. It's always a bit tricky to cut these things afterwards. Is there anything unclear? Do you have any questions remaining, the two-way prepositions? There's one last thing, actually. We have produced two beautiful songs that help you with legen, liegen, and stellen, stehen. I share them in the description of this video. You will love them. They're just really, really lovely. They will help you when you sing along. They will help you to internalize the two-way prepositions with the rhythm. Yeah? Should there be any questions, I'm more than happy to read them now. The chat window is visible again, Alexandra. Let me know. Okay, Dankeschön. Radu is asking, können Sie etwas über das Verb stecken erzählen? I can absolutely tell you a lot about stecken and hängen. Stecken simply means to stick, and you can stick things into holes. Yeah, I can stick my finger in my mouth, and now my finger is sticking in my mouth. Hard to speak while. So stecken is the same for accusative and dative. It doesn't change. There's none of these twin verbs, but it appears on both sides. So if you put something actively, if you stick something actively in your mouth or your ear, ich stecke den Kopfhörer in mein Ohr, it's accusative. And if it's there without moving, it's in a position, so it's dative. And the same is for hanging. Patrick is asking, how many times repetition is necessary for each grammar point? Well, Patrick, that depends on you. It depends on how fast your brain processes that information. I haven't come across any studies saying you need to do that 100 times or 200 times. But you have to understand, every time you do something right, you do like, you say, ich stelle mein Handy auf meine Hand. A connection in your brain is made. It's a very weak one the first time. Your neurons are connecting at certain points, which are called synapses. And the more often you do that, the better the connection, the stronger the connection, and the more likely it will last for a long time. If you use it less and less and less, it might weaken, but it might never get completely separated again. So use it for a while, and at a certain point, it will never get apart again. So find out what is the ideal amount of repetition for you. You will actually feel that when you do these things without thinking. Katie is asking, the cases have confused me for years. Does this technique work with all verbs? The preaching technique. Yes, the preaching works with every piece of grammar. You have to be careful. The topic today is only important and only working if you have the Wechselpräpositionen, the two case prepositions. Yeah, so only with vor und hinter, über, unter, nebenan, zwischen, auf and in. Only with these, what I said today in the last 15-20 minutes counts. You don't have that with singing. There is no direction in singing, nor is there any position in singing. So only verbs that imply a position or a direction, for that works. But the preaching can be used for any point in grammar to internalize it. It's lovely. It's really, really lovely. Preaching is, in the end, nothing else but a pattern drill, which has been around since the beginning of language learning. But I optimized it, and the preaching will also, there's actually a step to the preaching which I haven't mentioned. You need to record yourself and listen to yourself. It's a feedback technique. You need to get feedback for the way you perform, for what you say. If you don't get feedback, you might learn gibberish and think that's German. I've met quite a few people speaking fantasy German because they have been speaking fluently something and people have just nodded. Yeah. So you need to feedback what you produce to yourself. If you have a tutor, the tutor gives you feedback, but you can do that for yourself as well. Andrea is asking whether I offer B2 courses. I offer every lesson, every level. If you mean online material, there is a B2 online grammar course. I personally teach everything if it makes sense. I will have a chat with you if you are interested, and if you take a look at my prices and remain sitting. Yeah, but it must make sense. I will not sell anything to you or work with you if I see my services are not appropriate. Yeah, because I want you to be happy afterwards and also want to be successful, and it makes sense to just work with those who actually seek what I have to offer. Ashley asks, would you say this is advanced or for beginners? Should I, as a beginner, learn more about dative, or should I first learn vocabulary? The Wechselpräposition is rather a 1 level. I would say maybe a 2. These levels are artificial in a way anyhow. You need some basic knowledge. As you see, you need to know how to build the accusative, den, das, die, or other articles, and the dative, dem, der, den. So once you have mastered that, you can use the knowledge from today. But if you have already understood the principle, you will have it much easier when you come there. And vocabulary is something that should go along with your grammar knowledge and with your speaking practice. Don't think that just knowing 1,000 words will help you speak better. It does not. It needs to be a really round learning structure that you use that works almost holistically, if I may use that word. In German, we have a word ganzheitlich. I don't like to use it that much, but if you just do words, it's like collecting bricks to build a house. And just collecting bricks doesn't build a house, right? Then you are a brick collector. You have to learn how to put them together and also how to form them so that they give a house in the end. And then you have to decorate the house. So bricks are very important to build a house, but you should do that, yeah, smartly, yeah, in combination with many other things. That's why I always recommend to get a tutor. He, she will guide you properly, hopefully, if it's a good one. One last question, or maybe another one. Georgiana is asking, how can one improve the vocabulary? Georgiana, that's a different topic and a vast topic. I always recommend reading books and highlighting the new words and learning those with help of a vocabulary notebook. You do not need vocabulary apps. I'm not a big fan anymore of Memrise or Anki. I know many people will hate me for that. I think people spend way too much time on these apps with too little outcome. They can be helpful if done properly, but people usually learn faster when they read text and reread text several times. I've described a way to learn vocabulary this way in my course, How to Learn German Faster. Please take a look at that. It's not that difficult. Yeah, if you should learn only stuff that makes sense, that is in a context. And a text provides you with a lot of context. And if it's relevant to you, it would also be great. Do not work with books that you have left over from your German group classes. Those are horrible. Just throw them away. There's only, yeah, let's say it like that. Look for a book that is for self-learners. Okay, Patrick, should I move to Germany and I want to become exactly like a native German speaker and consider German as my home country? How would you suggest going for that? Let me try to do this, answer this in short time. Well, you're welcome to move to Germany. Whether you should move here, it's hard to say. If you don't have any better option in your home country, then yeah, it might be a good move. The problem is, if you move here without knowledge of German, you are in quite some danger. Because if you come here without German, you will end up in the expat bubble most likely, because in the beginning, you just meet people who speak English. Yeah, you have no other way to communicate. So you should have B1 level at least before you come here, if there's a choice. If there's no choice, come here, learn German as fast as you can, and try to get in touch with Germans. But you don't get in touch with Germans in an intensive group course at any language school. There is no German in there. The teacher and that person doesn't have time for you. So ideally, you prepare yourself, and B1 can be very well prepared at home. And when you come here unprepared, you have to find a flat. You might find something quick, but then you have to find something for longer. You have to deal with bureaucracy. You have to deal with frustration, with homesickness, because you're not home, and you will miss your home most likely. Depends on how horrible it is, but even if it's horrible there, you miss something there, your family or friends or food even. So all these things, it's a very emotional trip to go somewhere that might be exciting at times, but as exciting as it is, it's also challenging and also saddening at times and frustrating. Yeah, I've done that twice in my life, even moved to a different German city that was already frustrating. So don't take it lightly. If you're young, you're eager, and you're adventurous, the older you get, the less likely you will enjoy such a trip. Yeah, at best, you will in the end be happy, but it's a lot of work. And learning German, don't underestimate it. It's a lot of work. Yeah, even for my clients, it's not difficult, but it's a lot of work. Okay, I hope that triggers a few thoughts. I have written about this on my blog. Please look for something there, like migration to Germany or coming to Germany, you will find something. Also in the new course, I've written about this. Good. George, 2-3 more. I feel like answering a few more. George is asking, what is the number of words that someone has to learn daily? George, that depends on you. There's people who can have a nice conversation, a satisfying conversation with 800 to 1,000 words. So if you want to learn that amount of words and have a certain amount of time every day, let's say you want to learn that in half a year. So let's say 1,200 words through 6 months, that's 300 words a month. Let's say 320, so that's 80 words a week times 5, because weekends are off. Divided by 5, 80 divided by 5, that's 50. I don't know, my math skills, 50, 20, 16, right? So 16 words a day. But it's not the number of words, it's how you learn them. Yeah, you can have 1,000 words in your head. If you are not able to reproduce them when you need them, it doesn't help. So read, and read until you come to a limit. When you feel I'm tired, there's nothing I can put in there anymore, stop for a while, take a break and try again. And you will get better at that, because learning is also a little bit like working out a little bit, because the more you learn, or the better of a learner you become, the better you learn. Yeah, practice makes perfect. Übung macht den Meister. Chris, hast du Vorschläge für jemand, das bald in Deutschland wohnen wird? Besonders Grammatik, was ist am wichtigsten deiner Meinung nach? What do you mean by Vorschläge, by suggestions? So do you have suggestions for someone who will live in Germany soon? Suggestions in what field, Chris? Can you say that? Grammar-wise, do not overdo grammar. Grammar is sexy because it's so logical and so easy to learn. It's very easy to learn, especially with my materials. Yeah. I tell my clients not to do more than 1, or if it's easy, 2 videos and 2 grammar chapters a day, because grammar helps you to understand and to correct after you have said something wrong or after you've written something. It's more important to practice the language and to use the preaching that I have mentioned in the end of the presentation. If you want to speak better and more fluently, you need to speak more often. It's that simple. But the problem is you need to speak more often correctly. And this correctly is the crucial part. You can become a fluent wrong speaker, someone who speaks gibberish German or bad German fluently, and you get away with this, but I don't think you want to end up like that. Yeah? So make sure that what you practice is correct. You need a tutor, or you need a technique that feeds back your output, that feeds back what you say, so that you can learn to listen to yourself and to spot your own mistakes. When you're able to do that, you're independent. And that's always my aim, to make the clients, the learners, independent as soon as possible. Yeah? Because you learn a language to become an autonomous and independent person in a new country. You don't want to depend on someone. That's horrible. Yeah? Well, some people might like it, I don't. So that's why I learned languages. It's a huge motivation to become more independent. And it's liberating. Yeah? Learning a language is a liberating experience, especially German. Yeah? Okay, unless there's a last-minute question, I want to say thank you. Ja, my apologies, Entschuldigung für den technischen Trubel am Anfang. I learned a lesson myself, that my presentation program doesn't like it, or Google doesn't like it when I use my presentation program. Thank you very much. Interesting questions, really liked them all, and I hope I could help you a little bit. Let me know by liking it, subscribing it. Check out the music videos at the bottom in the description. I will send a copy of the presentation tomorrow to all those who are subscribed to my newsletter. So if you're not subscribed yet, please do so on my homepage or on Facebook. There's also a sign up button to the newsletter. Look it up. It's not so easy to spot at times. And feel free to contact me if there's anything you think I can do for you. Yeah, I'm always trying to help, whether you work with me or not. Make an effort, describe who you are, what you want, and what your need is. And if I have the time, I will get back to you quickly and guide you a little bit. Ja? Dankeschön. Ich wünsche euch ein schönes Wochenende. Bis zum nächsten Mal in 2 weeks, in 2 Wochen. And I'm not yet sure what will be the topic. Maybe I will, no spoilers. Okay, Dankeschön. Auf Wiedersehen.